Yeah. So I'm gonna call a quick audible. I know we were gonna talk about the holes,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you saw Misador's question.
Yeah.
I think let's go with number 2. Let's go with that number 2 pick. What are our thoughts on the QB prospects after their pro days and team interviews? And basically, and I'm going to give this to you first, Will, basically asking if maybe the pro days and the interviews changed our opinions, or if, it just cemented where we stood.
Right.
So what do you
Right.
think?
Yeah, well, at number 2, we got to go quarterback. I mean, we are in a situation where we're able to select the next best quarterback in the draft. That is my pick.
Yeah.
So I'm a big Jaden Daniels fan. I've been a fan of Jaden Daniels from the beginning of this. And what you're kind of starting to hear is it seems like the league is trending that way. You're hearing from Adam Schefter, who said, I haven't heard from Washington, but I've heard from the league and other people, scouts, who said, if I was in that spot, I'd be picking Jaden Daniels. I think he brings the highest ceiling, the highest amount of excitement at the position. His speed is very intriguing. Being that Jalen Hurts type offense, and you've got Cliff Kingsbury, who's done it with Kyler Murray. I think there's some things there that mesh really well. But we also have to remember, people were talking about when he was at LSU and it's 2nd down and 18, he could just run for the first down. You're not going to do that in the NFL. You have to win with your arm at quarterback. And yes, you're going to score touchdowns. You're going to get first downs with your legs. You're going to have 1 or 2 of those RG3 electrifying run against the Vikings. He could have a few of those, but majority of his career is going to be throwing the ball. And that's the part where you wonder at LSU, it's so hard to make that translation from college systems to the pros and see can he make the jump. But I think you're hearing from enough people in the league right now that keep saying Jaden Daniels I stay steadfast to say this would be who I would select.
Yeah. And look, I've seen the writing on the wall, like you said. Yes, everybody's calling it. I've started to familiarize myself with the LSU song and neck and everything. I've been starting to kind of get going with it, like, hey, and you know what? For all intents and purposes, outside of Caleb Williams, who people still have somewhat questions about, Jaden Daniels is. I mean, what can you say? Well, I mean, the guy is electric. You know what I mean? He's got the arm for the deep ball. He can definitely maneuver. His mobility is great. My only thing with him and my pick, and let's put it out there, just like I showed you, I'll go back to the hat. North Carolina. With my second pick, Misador, to answer your question, it is Drake May. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to say this. Drake May, ooh, that's interesting. We'll address that in a second.
Yeah.
For me, Drake May, you guys all know, diehard Tar Heel fan. I watched every game of his college career. I think he could have stood to be in North Carolina one more year. I think, honestly, Drake May has all of the talent and all of the intangibles to be a great NFL quarterback. I just think he's about a year or so away. Nothing swayed my opinion. I saw him as pro day, but everything I saw at his pro day, he can throw with every arm angle. He can make all the NFL throws. He's got great mindset. He drops in a 60, 70 yard, bomb right in the barrel. All that stuff I knew from beforehand. The team interviews, I knew all that. For me, it was just those little things. Can they translate to the pros? I think he's going to have more of a struggle in the first year. So especially with us not having all of the necessary pieces. Again, we don't know what's going to happen after the draft. For me, I don't know that we could pass up on a Jaden Daniels type. I'm being very honest with you.
Right.
It kills me to say that, because if we are looking long term, I still think Drake May is the smart move. But I do think when we're at number 2, and a lot of us are really kind of seeing the potential of this guy in Jaden Daniels. Look, he can definitely be the answer, and he will allow us, in my opinion, with maybe the lack of having the tenured line, he'll allow us to kind of, if the line breaks down, if they're still trying to work the kinks out, his legs will be able to kind of extend the play and things like that. Now, whether he just relies on those legs and as opposed to, continuing to look downfield, that remains to be seen. But I don't like it personally, but I didn't like it last year. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be, he could be successful with us, and I think it's going to be a smart move to get him.
Well, I say what I did, where like if they decide and they pull a fast one on everybody and they pick Drake May, I'm all in on the pick of Drake May. I think you said it when you talked about the fact that May need a little bit more time. And if you look at our roster right now, we got Marcus Mariota as the backup quarterback, he's listed as QB1 right now going into the draft. I don't want week 1 to have Marcus Mariota going out there because Drake May needs to sit for a half a season to a year to then take over. There was a question I saw on Twitter. They're like, what if you could do what the Packers did? If you drafted Drake May, you let him sit for a year, and then you've got a franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. Would you take that over a bad 2024? It's a great question. It's hard to say no to that, but then you look at how they built this roster, and it's I really don't think they're trying to go into the season with Marcus Mariota as QB1 until that, as the bridge quarterback. I think he really is there to be the backup. I think there's 2 things going against Drake May right now, which is why he has slid behind Jaden Daniels. The number one, well, first let me talk about the good things. He is a great interview. He's got big time size. He's got a big arm. He can make, like you said, all of the throws. And so he's a very likable person. You hear him talk. He's from Charlotte. He's got that North Carolina accent. He's a good boy. He's a good someone you want to root for. There's some things about he misses some of the bunnies. You said he's got a great arm. He can throw it 70 yards downfield, but sometimes he missed the bunny throws, consistently misses the bunny throws. That probably can be cleaned up. Footwork can probably be cleaned up there, worked on. I think the big concern is the fact that the production that he had last year versus the year before is causing some concern. It's really similar to Sam Howell's career in North Carolina.
Exactly similar. Yep.
Where when he had his receivers and weapons leave for the NFL, he's personally struggled at the position. He also, you got to remember, Drake May's offense coordinator went to Wisconsin, so he was in a different system last year. And so, that's, I think, why, we talked offline before, and how is this falling? I think you're seeing the fact that you've got the Heisman Trophy and all the hype and the ability that Jaden Daniels can come in and most likely week 1 take over and play, whereas Drake May shows signs where he can be a franchise quarterback and he can certainly be your leader. But like you said, it could be he may need some time. And how great would it be for him to go to a team like New England with Jacoby Brissett there, and he has a chance to groom himself in there. Whereas, let's be honest, if we're thinking about the player, is Washington the best place for him to come into week 1 of 2024? Maybe it's not.
Well, look, I'm going to tell you, man, if Jacoby Brissett gets to mold the next 2 great North Carolina quarterbacks, I will be mad that we let all of them go. Okay? Good. I mean, to what you said, that's exactly it. Sam, we saw what happened. We saw what happened when Sam's draft stock. And the same, and my issue with Drake and everything this year, and I was telling Alex Loosemore about this on the college show, is that since day one, just like this year, as soon as we came in this year, they said Caleb Williams, number 1.
Yeah.
And then they started to say after week 1, Drake May, number 2. Yeah. And for me, in my opinion, that killed a lot of the growth. I think there's some of the things that he did not get to work on because of all the attention and everybody praising him. And then on top of that, he's working a new offense.
Yes.
He's working, he's not under Phil Longo anymore, who, like you said, was
Yes.
at Wisconsin. So that to me, I'm like, are we not seeing all this? But still, there are things that, and I know our guy Alex with a Y will always tell me, Jaden Daniels didn't lose to winless Virginia, and yeah, Drake did. Drake took that L.
But
to
North
Virginia
Carolina
and
did,
Georgia Tech. Yeah, true. Our defense struggled, but still, Virginia was winless. Will, come on, man.
Oh, yeah. No, that's bad.
It was a struggle, But look, so, and I like what Isidore said. He said you pick Drake, and you essentially have the playbook for your starter and a different one for your backup, which goes to what he was saying before, because Marcus Mariota is the backup right now. He's obviously the number one. Are we locked in because that's the play style Marcus Mariota has? Like, would it be crazy to get a Drake, knowing you have Marcus Mariota, who is most likely your read option dual threat type dude?
I don't think you pick a franchise quarterback based on who your backup is. I think it's a great point of what he's saying about and so I think you could question, is Mariota the right backup if you're going to have, a Drake May? Certainly, I think that's kind of what he's talking about, but I don't think you make the decision based on who your backup is. And, they also is for, I would say maybe you kind of go with the idea is we want to keep that starter upright for 18 games. 18 games? Yes. 18 games now? 17 games. Yeah,
well, they're thinking about moving days.
Yeah, I was forgetting how many games we played, but for 17 games, and then we'll address the long-term backup later. But and I think Misador brings up a great point. Do we remember RG3? Is darn right we do. I think the fact that this is where who we have in place gives me a greater sense of confidence that we can make him successful. In the fact that Cliff Kingsbury, had Kyler Murray doing well in Arizona. Kyler Murray was ascending as the next big thing. And then he, I think he tore his ACL and he's kind of, things kind of went sideways in Arizona. And Cliff Kingsbury before that coached somebody by the name of, Patrick Mahomes. That's right. At Texas Tech. And, and he also had in his school somebody by the name of, Baker Mayfield, so he's had an opportunity to work with some elite quarterbacks. And he's shown in the college level and in the pro level that he's able to make it work. So that gives me a lot of excitement there, or a lot of confidence that they could make this work with the Jaden Daniels. But he's right. That's the difference between the two things is I think Daniels has the higher ceiling and the chance to be this, big time face of the NFL type player, highlight reels. But you also have the flop potential. Whereas Drake May, I think Drake May's worst comparison might be, unless he completely, derails and becomes like a Tim Couch type quarterback, but is going to be a bottom half of the league starter. You can win with him, but is he like kind of almost like a Kirk Cousins might be his that's like
or a
his
Baker Mayfield. You can win with him, but is he that good?
Exactly. But I don't think you're going to see Drake May suck in the pros. That type of stuff. What do you think?
So I want real quick. I want to ask this because he did bring up Rick Meyer, and for those of us that watched NBC Notre Dame in the early '90s, Rick Meyer, Ricky Waters, Jerome Bettis, all those guys were bullet out. And I remember when Rick Meyer came out, they said, and I quote, that he will be the next Joe Montana.
Yes,
and I got on that train, and that he was not the next Billy Montana.
I didn't buy any of it. No, I was never a Rick Meyer fan. I remember that. Yeah, no, I totally remember. Well, but that's the point of that though is there's going to be busts. If we're going, the first 3 picks are going to be quarterbacks, and now we may say in the first 6 picks 4 quarterbacks, because I do want to talk about one other one. They're not all going to hit. Look at just a couple of years ago where we were like, oh my gosh, this quarterback class, and now what? Trevor Lawrence is the only one who's really done something in the league.
Yep.
It's kind of wild. Zach Wilson looks really out of place. Justin Fields is now a backup. Mac Jones is getting replaced. He is a backup now. He's our, I forgot. So that's concerning. Definitely concerning. Trey Lance, it's awful.
Oh yeah, but hey, look, Misador, I think he hit where you were going. McCarthy, who has also kind of been, rumored to be, we've had interest or something.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to him and this and that. And look, for all intents and purposes, the guy's a winner. We've seen what he did. I believe in the last 3 years, he's lost maybe a total of 3 games, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Because they lost to TCU last year, and then 2 years ago they lost to Georgia, and that might be it. All the way. I'm about to say. So we know about that he has that winning mentality, and with that offense, he didn't pass as much, but he was one of the most efficient quarterbacks. Like I think he had the best third down percentage of any of the quarterbacks coming out. I mean, look, stats, you can fill up stats, to show your point to any of these guys. But with JJ, I'm very eager to see, is this hype for real? And I want to know your opinion on it, because I like JJ. Obviously, our guy Alex with Alex Loosemore has been shouting his praises all year.
Yeah.
But can that really translate into the NFL, where you don't have one of the top 3 teams, top 3 rosters, and one of the best coaches?
Right. Yeah, I mean, JJ McCarthy all of a sudden started jumping up right around the combine, right after the combine. And I'm not too surprised, because if I said that Drake May was a person you like, JJ McCarthy is a person you want your daughter to be introduced to. Like, he is that charismatic, and he is such a tremendous interview. And you remember when they lost the year before, and he sat there and just watched the team celebrate, or he sat there and meditated and just, this guy cares a ton. He's easily likable. He's easily someone that, a whole city's going to rally around. The hardest part about this is exactly what you said, is he is the most difficult evaluation because of the offense that he was in, where the offense went through Corum on first down, on second down, and if they really had to, it'd go through Corum on third down.
Right.
But when he was asked to make throws on third down, he was extremely efficient. When he was asked to make throws, he made all of the throws. He's got an arm. The arm is not the problem. It's more about the fact of volume right now, but that's the hardest part to. So I think he can make the jump. I mean, heck, I could even see the NFL. You know me, sometimes I buy into the conspiracy theory saying this is our next Tom Brady. Here we go. Prop him up. This is our next golden boy. And so I certainly think that he, there's something there to JJ McCarthy. It's just when you've got an opportunity to compare him with the other two and all the tape that they've got out there and stuff that you're able to see, I just think it makes him a very difficult evaluation to pick at number 2.
Right. And the other side to this is like I've talked to Alex with Y. I've talked to Alex Stevens about, is that we kind of know maybe what offense Cliff Kingsbury wants to run. We know he's done a lot of their read option. His quarterbacks have specialized in having great mobility and a strong arm, but we don't know for sure.
Right.
And if we were to look at the offense we have been running, then you bring in a guy like McCarthy, who is excellent on play action, great, like I said, efficient and on third down. And I mean, one of the reasons why a lot of these quarterbacks fail is because they just get who they think is the best quarterback, as opposed to what's the best fit.
Yes.
And that's where I look at a JJ McCarthy and I look at a Jaden Daniels. Like, if we're going to run some read option, if we're going to have, our quarterback kind of being more mobile and kind of using that part of his game, those guys might fit the system more, as to where we're not, we don't know. I mean, Drake had a solid run game last year. Marion Hampton had over 1,400 yards, if I'm not mistaken, at running back at UNC. But Drake is clearly more of a, in my opinion, a Kirk Cousins, more of a passer, more of a, let's move the ball up and down the field. So, I mean, it's all about fit. And again, he could work it out. We don't know what they're going to do, but it's just very interesting. And to see him move this high up scares me, to say the least.
Right.
So yeah, buddy. So look, that is the quarterback thing, and we knew that was going to take a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm. Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is.